Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial on question 2 of the November 2019 AQA English Language Paper 1 exam. Okay, so this is of course The Silent Land by Graham Joyce, which if you've read it and gone over it is Zoe and Jake, the oblivious skiers who get caught up in the avalanche. I'm going to work under the assumption that you have read the text and had access to it, but what I'll just do is I'll pause here, or you can pause here and read that first part of the extract up to yep, let's do it, and then if you've not read it you can also then pause again here, and then finally here, so you can have a read through. Okay, so let's work under the assumption that you've read it, you've read about Zoe living her best life up on the mountains and then sadly getting swept away by an avalanche. Okay, so question 2 asks you to look at the source and then how does the writer use language to describe Zoe's feelings? I've highlighted a number of examples of things that you could talk about for this question. Just being careful with this question. I noticed a number of students that in terms of they talked about language and how it was used to describe, but actually were focusing on the description of the mountain rather than it being centred in Zoe's feelings. So again, just really make sure that you've read your question carefully and you know what the focus of your exploration of language is going to be. So yeah, we could talk about some of these modifiers, these adjectives like clear and pure as ice, so we could talk about the simile there, the mountain breathed back at her, the personification there. I think about these verbs such as trapped, the moments. You've got repeated imagery here of the snow and silence, that sibilant snow and silence. And then you've got these metaphors of the pre-echo of death and the rehearsal. You've got the simile of the weird talons describing her skis. And then we've got these declaratives, I am alive, I am an eagle, obviously this metaphor here as well. So lots to talk about. Okay, I'm going to share with you an 8 out of 8 grade 9 response to this, one that I have already kind of worked on. So as always, as I always advise in these tutorials, we begin our response with the writer uses in order to flag up to the examiner that we're thinking about writer's method, their technique. So we're going straight in with the methods here. I really need a different colour pen, don't I, to kind of annotate as I go. Bear with me, I've just got my pencil case here. Right, so we've got writer's methods, a technique here to show us Zoe's almost spiritual experience. So I've got a bit of a opening point there. So the mountain breathed back at her gives the environment a life and a soul, implying a deep connection to the place. So I've got my evidence, I've got my kind of quite perceptive and interesting and original explanation. So this image, an image is another technique or method, followed by the metaphor, see how many we're doing here, followed by the metaphor or rehearsal and a pre-echo of death, possibly suggests that in this moment she feels close to heaven, experiencing true clarity about what it means to be alive. And so this is the kind of original and some perceptive comment on effect. So I'm coming back to the writer uses, always trying to keep that focus on the writer's craft. So the writer uses a semantic field, another method. And a semantic field is just a number of words within a particular topic or category. So the writer uses a semantic field of clarity to demonstrate her intense feelings. The adjectives, clear and pure, suggest that this is a powerful experience, and the repetition of the sibilant snow and silence adds to the sense that this snowy environment is overwhelming, almost as though nothing else exists in the world. So this is where you're getting all your marks. This is what you've got to really focus on, guys, is this comment on the effects. Yeah, it's great that I've got myself, this, some quotes down here, I've got a number of techniques, but what's really getting me the mark is this comment on the effect. So Zoe seems to savour the moment. The writer uses, so again, nothing wrong with that, it's a little phrase to keep repeating. The writer uses the verb waited and also says that she trapped the moment. So this is just really good practice to get clusters of evidence. So you kind of got a number of different pieces of vocabulary, a number of bits of evidence to kind of back up what you're trying to say, what point you're trying to make. So writer uses verb weighted and also says that she trapped the moment. This verb highlights her desire to never let go of this special event. And apologies, I realised I'd said moment a couple of times, so I just looked for a synonym there. So it's about, you know, what function does that piece of language have? You know, she wants to hold it. I could have even zoomed in even more on the word trap there, but I think I'd done enough, so I wanted to move on. So we're looking here at another method, showing the examiner I can find a range of evidence. So the simile, like weird talons, and the metaphor, I'm an eagle, indicate that Zoe feels at one with nature. Even the artificial nature of skis becomes something natural. An eagle is associated with strength, grace, and majesty. So perhaps Zoe feels powerful and even regal, as though she is queen of this beautiful landscape. So let's have a look. So there was on the previous page, I obviously had made that point about her being close to heaven, and this is another of those really kind of grade 9-y sort of comments. It's perceptive, it's original, it sort of zooms in on something and looks for meaning that not every student would necessarily find. So lots of students might talk about, you know, she feels like an eagle and that makes her feel strong and graceful, but pushing it to say something even more. And if you've watched others of my videos, you'll know that I love the 3 Ps of possibly, perhaps, and potentially. It offers a really tentative kind of tone to your writing, and it shows that you're being interpretive. So perhaps Zoe feels powerful, even regal, as though she's queen of this beautiful landscape. And so then I'm just finishing on the present tense, I am alive, juxtaposes with the imagery of death, reinforcing the life-affirming experience of being poised, ready to sweep down the mountain. And before you come for me, obviously juxtaposition is sort of structural, but here I think it's appropriate to think about how language is used in contrasting ways, particularly in terms of this imagery of death, to make this wider point that here on this mountaintop, she feels she feels utterly alive. She feels kind of at this, you know, she's about to go skiing down the mountain and she just feels this energy and this life within her. So I think it's appropriate to talk in terms of that contrasting imagery and how it's being used here. Okay, so this would confidently be 8 out of 8 and therefore a grade 9. And what you will see is that there's a close focus on methods, the writer's techniques, there's evidence, and particularly we're looking at where I've managed to use clusters, so multiple sort of examples to back up a particular point. But then really what's getting those high marks is the quality of the comment on effects. So I've been showing a perception, particularly in this area about the eagle, and additionally in that earlier point where I was talking about she feels close to heaven. So these are 2 of the kind of stronger points that I've made within this. So yeah, just to recap then, you need a range of methods, you need your examples, and what you really, really need to focus on, guys, is developing as much as you can, zooming in on those quotes and giving a really sort of perceptive and interesting interpretation of what that language means. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time.